One, two, three.
Hey, you're back with Steve Rhodes, the Get Out of Debt guy, and Damon Day, the stupendous, amazing debt coach. Today we're answering some of your reader questions, and Damon this time has filtered them out. So, Damon, hit us with them.
When you said stupendous, I thought you were going to say something else. So, yeah, I went through and Steve had asked me to gather a couple of reader questions that we could talk about on the podcast today because, quite frankly, we're kind of out of ideas because when it comes to debt and getting out of debt, there's only so much you can talk about, and where you just start recycling the same information. But, some people need to hear it multiple times. So, the reader questions...
that's a great point
because
I've been doing this 30 or 40 years, 30 years now, something like that, helping people with debt. It is the same issue around and around and around again. And I get it. I mean, people are embarrassed about their situation. Nobody wants to reach out, talk to a friend, have a potluck dinner and have everybody look at their, it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
But everybody just reinvents the wheel day after day. And Damon, I think that between the two of us, we probably have 50 plus years of experience dealing with people and their financial problems. We have seen it all, almost all, because there's always a new surprise. But it is tough to continue to give people the same advice that we've given 10,000 times before and have people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or that's not true, and you just get to a point, I'm just being honest here, you just get to a point like, whatever. You win. I give up.
Yeah, like someone will ask a question, and there's no stupid questions. We appreciate the questions, but
yeah,
sometimes it gets frustrating when they'll ask a question, and it's like, I've answered that question 50 times. There's 50 articles on the website about this exact same scenario and what to do, but that's okay. Two of these that we're going to be doing today are about different debt relief companies. And we're not going to mention names because it doesn't matter name, because it doesn't matter because they're almost all the same. But Steve, you and I have seen this song and dance, hired debt settlement company or debt relief company or debt validation company. Debt validation company took my money for a year, for 2 years. Debt validation company or debt settlement company didn't do what they said they were going to do. Now I'm getting sued. Is this company a scam? What should I do? I mean, we see that. Every week, I have a handful of reader questions that are basically that. I could have summed up 80% of our reader questions are that. Is this company a scam? They're not doing what they said. And it's like, yeah, these companies don't do what the salespeople say these companies are going to do. I
know. And let me bitch about this for a second, because what has happened over the decades is it's the same damn sales pitch. The company at the time that's scamming people ends up going out of business. Somebody else picks up what they think is a great idea and reinvents the script. And consumers constantly, I understand why, human nature, behavioral economics, the psychology of money, all that stuff. But consumers constantly fall for the magic sales pitch, as you have said, the magic beanstalk letters, and instead of listening to good, honest, realistic, functional advice.
Yeah.
And it gets frustrating.
And the word you said, scam, that's also nuanced, right? It's like, is this company a scam?
Oh, yeah.
Is this company a scam? It's like, what's your definition of a scam? Did they take your money with the intent of running off to the Himalayas, never to be heard of again? That's a scam? Well, that's an obvious scam. A lot of these companies aren't that. Some of them are. But is it, hey, they sold me this service under false pretenses, or I thought this was going to happen, or I was led to believe this was going to happen, but that's actually not what's happening, and now I'm out $10,000. But maybe they did exactly what their contract said they were going to do. You just didn't read the contract. So is that a scam?
Or
I don't know.
Here's the other variation. The company sold you something, but then the creditors changed their policies and procedures. Yeah. Doesn't mean the company was a scam, because they don't have any control over that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like when you mentioned, people repackaging, changing the scripts, like this debt validation BS. It's okay. Debt validation is a scam. I used to do it for people 20 years ago when I was like 20, 21, 22. And I thought, this is great. We send these special magic beanstalk letters, as I call them. And the banks just go away and the debt goes away. And you just show that, we're going to show the banks and we're going to show that they didn't use their own money to create, to give me this money or whatever. And it was money created out of my signature, whatever BS line they're going to use. That is a scam. Debt validation doesn't work. These companies just take your money and hope you don't get sued. That's it in a nutshell. Debt validation these days is these companies sell you on something. They charge you 20, 30, 40% of your debt as a fee, and they just hope you don't get sued, and then they keep your money. That's what they're doing. I don't care what kind of BS dressing the sales guy puts around it. You're better off just sticking your head in the sand, not paying these creditors, and hoping you don't get sued yourself. Because guess what? That's free. You can get yourself sued for free. You don't need to pay somebody else to do it for you.
So you hear from one of these companies that say, well, we're an attorney network. Well, what you don't know is most of those attorneys were recruited off Craigslist. And I'm not kidding.
It's just, but it sounds so good. But the thing is, people, they get desperate. They don't know what to do. This sounds really good. And I know this is a shameless plug, but just freaking call me first. I do a free consult in the beginning. You want me to look at a contract? You want me to explain what they're going to do? Listen to what I say they're going to do. Listen to what the sales guy says they're going to do. And then you do whatever you think is right. You pick who you think sounds more logical, me or the sales guy. I'm going to win that.
And
every
check them
time.
out. Yeah. Check them out. I'm always about check out the company.
I encourage people to do it. Just check, talk to as many salespeople at as many different companies as you want, and then schedule a consultation with me, and I'll interpret all the BS that you just heard. And what I say is going to make a lot more sense. Don't take my word for it. Trust your gut. Talk to me and see if I'm right.
Here's the one question that you can ask 3 companies, and it'll tell you immediately what's going on. You talk to company 1, and they go, oh, we got a magic solution. Your payment's going to be $800 a month. Yeah. All right, now you call company 2. You say, I talked to company 1. They said my payment was $800 a month. And the company 2, I guarantee you, will go, we can do it for $700 a month. Yeah. Company 3 will say, we can do it for $600 a month. How are they all making up numbers?
But wait, then you call company 1 back.
Oh, we can lower your payment $500 a month.
Yeah, we can do it for $5. Yeah, forget about the 8. We just we want some money, please. My commission is riding on a yes here. Stupid.
All right, let's get to the reader questions.
All right, first reader question is actually it's not a fun one. It's more of a PSA about American Express, right?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Steve,
my God.
How many times have we seen a reader question over the years about American Express just taking their ball and going home?
American Express kicks loyal customers in the nuts all the time for their own reasons. Yep. And it happens all the time. You lose all your reward points, your perks, and everything else. I'm not going to spoil your message here, but it's constant.
Let me read the reader question. And this is not a one-off, right? We see this a lot with American Express, with other companies too, but American Express loves to kick people in the nuts, as Steve says. So, question is, I've been a platinum card holder for 30 years, having accumulated 3.5 million reward points. Let that sink in for a second. In January,
I don't know why they didn't use them.
Later in the question, he goes on to say he accumulated them and had not spent them on anything. So American Express is not a bank account in that sense where you just bank those reward points, like use them. So he goes, in January of this year, after being bounced around from customer service rep to customer service rep in India, calls being dropped, calls not being returned, I lost it and used profane language. Now, let's pause there. I get it. I'm not one to be shy of profane language, especially when dealing with customer service reps, usually in a different country. It is the most fucking frustrating experience on the planet, right? I mean, I'll put it on mute and I'll be screaming, and my wife knows I'm on customer service. Live fucking person. I want a live fucking person now. I get it. I've been there, right? So this guy, unfortunately.
But here's the big but is yelling at the American Express customer service person that might be just reading from a script and not giving you the answers that you want is like yelling at Ronald McDonald for a bad Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The two are not connected at all.
Yeah. And I've never yelled at a live person. I've screamed my ass off at the recordings asking for a live person. But whenever the live person comes on, I'm like, oh, how are you doing today? Right? I flush it. I'm like, okay, I got a live person. Because I know yelling at them is never going to get you what you want. And it's not their fault. They're just doing a job. So you don't ever yell at
the case of American Express, it's going to turn around and hurt you. And it violates my number one rule that I try to live my life by, which is don't be a dick.
That's a good life philosophy.
I understand you're frustrated, but yelling at that hourly wage employee in some foreign country,
get you what you need. Yeah,
no,
it's never. So I've never yelled at a live person. I've had some frustrating and I wouldn't say aggressive, but very stern. Like, here's what I need to happen tones. But I've never yelled or cussed at an actual live person. It's just I do it out of frustration when the recording's on, in hopes that some executive somewhere might hear that recording and change their policy, right? Absolutely. I'm affecting change in the world. So anyway.
Well, I have to confess, I did lose it one day with a live person on customer service because I had called a creditor and was speaking to somebody where English was their third language. And I asked the person's name and they said, John Doe. And I was like, okay, yeah, right. And I said, can you transfer me to your manager? And he goes, please hold for John Smith. And I went, oh, come on.
All right. So for the record, that's Steve's calm version of losing it. Because I think anybody that's ever heard one of our podcasts could definitely imagine me losing it. But Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected Steve, yeah, his version of losing it is, oh, come on.
Come on!
Gosh darn it! So, all right. So he used profane language, unfortunately, out of frustration. And then he goes on to say, within an hour, my account was permanently closed and all my points, my 3.5 million points, were confiscated. Gone.
Yeah.
I was under now here's where, I was under psychiatric care due to a job. American Express doesn't care about any of this stuff. I was under psychiatric care due to job loss of the pandemic, and the medication dosages were not correct. My psychiatrist stated such in a letter so he even went as far as have his psychiatrist write a letter to American Express to try to get his points back. It's an honest mistake. He probably, after he did it, knew he shouldn't have done it. Now he's unfortunately paying the price. But I mean, I got to give props to this reader of getting a letter from a psychiatrist like, hey, I really need to get these points back.
Right.
And it says, Amex did not even bother to respond to me, despite having written to them over 30 times. Right? Amex
that doesn't help your case.
Amex doesn't give a shit. They don't care. No. It just went, boom, you're done. You cussed at one of our employees, and boom, you're out. It doesn't matter that you've been a customer for 30 years. As far as Amex is concerned, they have 3.5 million reasons to not reinstate your account. Like, why would they? Because
they just banked all that.
Yeah, because they can point to this. They have you on recording. You cussed at this person. We're here to protect our employees. So no. So now they have under their terms a valid reason not to have to give you. And he says, I've since reached out to the New York AG's office to deal with them. The AG's not going to do anything. No. I also didn't provide consent to be taped and now live in a two-party consent state to be taped. And he says, do I have a leg to stand on in court to obtain the value of my points, which he says is worth $70,000? Steve,
well, not only does he have a leg to stand on, no, he needs a wheelchair.
Oh, man.
He had no legs to stand on in this one. Now, American Express, any credit card, but American Express is really aggressive about this. You have to think about your credit card. You didn't earn it. They gave it to you. This is like when I was a teenager one day, we were playing football, and honest to God, my friend took his ball and went home. Game was over. Yeah. So this is the same thing. American Express just says it's not us, it's you, and takes their card back. And too bad, so sad. I mean, it's not your card.
Yeah, you made a mistake, you got frustrated, and you gave American Express an excuse to make $70,000.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing that we've seen with American Express too: is people who have not yelled at customer service reps have been good customers, and all of a sudden they get the message one day, "Boop, we're done with you." That's within their right. They can terminate any account they want at any time for any reason. It's not you personally. The computer just spit you out. They don't want you anymore.
And why can they terminate it, Steve, at any time?
Well, it's their ball. They took
ball.
it home.
That's right. It's their ball. They went home. And why would you have $70,000 of points just sitting there where it can be taken? It's just like an available line of credit, right? You say, oh, I don't need an emergency fund. I have a credit card and it has $10,000 in available credit. Well, with the stroke of a pen and one letter, they can send you and they say, hey, we don't want you to have this line of credit. That's our ball and we're going to take it and we're going to go home. You're not entitled ever to that line of credit. And the same with the points. If you start looking at the contract, it'll say, these points have no cash value, right? So you can't say that's $70,000 they've taken from me. So you have no leg to stand on in court. They didn't do anything illegal by terminating your account.
In fact, I have written about this time and time again in the fine print of the cardholder agreement that American Express cardholders sign. It says that you can ask for your account to be reinstated. You're going to have to pay a fee and you're going to lose all your points. And then, maybe we'll reinstate your account. You're going to start from scratch. But the cardholder agreement tells you exactly what they're going to do, and then they do it.
So big takeaways with American Express. Don't fucking cuss.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. And don't leave all your points sitting on the card. Use them while you have them. I mean, they're not earning interest with American Express. Use them. Get some damn gift cards. Hell, I could have used some $70,000 worth of Home Depot gift cards. That would have been great.
Yeah.
I got to build a bed for my son. Send me down a couple thou. All right.
What's the next one?
So the next one, actually two lumped together, which ties back into what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, which is these debt relief companies and how they just don't ever do what they say they're going to do. So this one really makes me feel bad. I've actually sent an email to this reader to see if I can help her out here because she's in a tight spot. And it's a fairly long question, so I'll paraphrase a lot of it. And I'm not going to use the name of the company because the name of the company does not matter. If it was just like one off here or one off there, but they're all the same for the most part, So she said, started with X law group, and there you go, the law group. Oh, they're a law group. Started with X.
I know who they are.
No, you don't. No, you actually don't. This is a different law group.
Oh, it's a different law group? Okay.
Different law group. This is a different law group, not the one you're thinking of.
Okay.
But all the law groups fucking suck.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing, like 75% of the people who call themselves law groups are not attorneys.
Yeah. I have an attorney on my case. I've had people I've talked to said, I've got an attorney working on that problem for me. I'm like, oh, really? Who's the name of the attorney? Oh, it's such and such law group. And I'm like, yeah, I guarantee you an attorney has never even seen your file and does not know your name. Guaranteed.
Right.
You don't have an attorney working on that for you. But it sounds good. So she signed up with this law group in 2019, December 2019. It's $390 for 2 years. She's a widow on very limited resources, and they're taking a large portion of her monthly payment to survive. This is all in caps, by the way. Her reader question, the whole thing is in caps. But X company assured me I was doing the right thing to straighten out the debts. They weren't mine, as they were my husband's when he passed away. The husband's daughter maxed her out. So anyway, she's saying it is what it is. She has the debt in her name. This law group has taken the money every month since December of 2019. She owed approximately $15,000. So they've been taking almost $400 a month from her for the last, almost beginning of 2023 now. So it's 3 years. So for 3 years, they've been taking $400 a month. So isn't that $15,000?
No, it's 4,800 times 3.
That's $15,000, right? I mean,
Almost the amount of her debt.
I may not be a smart man, but wait a minute. So she hires this company to get her out of this $15,000 in debt. They haven't done anything, and she's paid them almost $15,000 so far. What the fuck? So she says, I've called repeatedly every month with no resolution. Supposedly, she had a Sam's Club card that was paid at approximately $740. She's asked for verification that this was to be paid, but she's yet to receive any paperwork from this law group about a settlement. There was 3 other debts that they were also supposed to deal with. She says, to date, nothing has been paid. It's 3 years now. I've called my bank, put in a dispute for this law group to stop any and all payments. Unfortunately, it's too late now. She's paid all that money.
She's made them. Yeah.
I mean, she could have, if she could have settled that on her own, basically, for a lot less than what she's already paid this law group. If she only owed 15 grand.
Not only that, but if she's a senior citizen living only on Social Security or other types of protected benefits,
proof.
she could have made no payments.
Yeah, she could have called Helps.
Helps, which is a nonprofit law firm. Helpsishere.org. Helps senior citizens for very, very little money. I'm like $20 a month to deal with this and keep creditors at bay. Or if she, as one attorney said recently, she could have filed a peace of mind bankruptcy and for less than a couple grand legally closed the door on this forever.
Definitely
and saved herself $13,000.
Definitely a lot less than what she's paid. So yeah, she says, her credit and life is in a complete spiral of decline. She's 69 years old. 69-year-old widow, right? Okay. She told her bank that they are unauthorized to take, steal any more money from me, that they breached the contract. She wants all of her money back, which unfortunately she's never going to get. She told somebody at the place named Kevin, or Kevin said that they would negotiate to close the account. Oh, they've offered to give her $1,800 back. Yeah. Basically, here's a go-away fee. We'll give you $1,800 back. Leave us alone. Go away. Stop complaining. And that's the $1,800 back with no resolution on any of her debts. So here she is 3 years later, still owes all the money except maybe a $700 debt on a Sam's Club. And after taking 15 grand from her, they're offering to give her $1,800 back to go away and still deal with the problem that they didn't take care of.
Yeah, I mean, here's what she should have done, and she can still do it today. Number one, she could reach out to you, Damon, DAMONDAY.com. Talk to Damon. Number two, she could contact Helps, and maybe she is eligible for some nonprofit law help, and that'll stop things. Or number three, she could talk to a bankruptcy attorney, but expecting that she's going to get her money back over the decades.
Unfortunately.
How many times have we seen people get all their money back? Zero. None. Yeah. You can also file a complaint with the Attorney General, the Federal Trade Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that might result eventually in them going after the company. But when that happens, the companies get shut down, and while refunds might be issued, they're generally
money's gone.
4 pennies on the dollar. I mean, nothing.
Spend it all. There's no money there. It's not like they've got millions of dollars. They're not sitting there leaving their American Express rewards accumulated, waiting for the regulators to come in and take it and give it back to the people they stole it from. That money is spent on a 3-day Coke bender, right? That's an inside joke from a law group from back in the day.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? We were talking about that law group that got shut down.
I guess it's more than 10 now.
Yeah, and one
you talk about all the companies that bought Lamborghinis and had their drug dealers come to the office, and it's been unbelievable.
Yeah, that was like an insider at that company. It was like a former employer that was talking about the owner of that company is not going to do whatever because he was on a 3-day Coke bender or something like that. But I mean, we laugh about it, but this has been going on for decades. And when they get shut down, they change the name and they start up again under a different name, but it's the same bullshit. It's always been the same bullshit. Right? So, I mean, she's unfortunate. Oh, here to add insult to injury, after she canceled, they tried to take $189 out of her account December 5th, like this December of 2022. But luckily her bank declined it because she had contacted her bank and told them not to authorize it. And then here's the best part. She can't get a hold of anybody at this company, right? Been trying for months. Guess what happened after the bank declined the payment? Here
They
it is.
disappeared.
No. Only then did X Law Group start Call Me. So that's the trick. If you've got a company that you're worried about, you can't get a hold of them, stop the payment.
Yeah. And we actually had one, I don't know what the end result of this is, but we had that one debt relief attorney did sue her own client over fees. It's ridiculous. The best way to stop these types of things where you have to get aggressive or agitated about trying to get your money back is please be smart on the front end. Please visit my website, getoutofdebt.org. But more importantly, reach out to Damon, because you can have a phone conversation with Damon. I don't do phone consults anymore. So go to Damon Day, DamonDay.com. Reach out to Damon. Talk to him on the phone before you make a $15,000 mistake.
Yeah. And then just real quick, here's the other one, right in the same vein. Signed up with X Solutions. So it's not a law group this time, but it's X Solutions in September of 2021. Paid him $380 a month. He had $42,000 in credit card debt, and they allowed a judgment to be in place after 14 months of payment. And, you know, sometimes that happens in debt settlement. I mean, it's just part of the process, depending on how much money you have. That can happen. Problem is, these sales guys never tell you that up front. They never prepare you for. They don't have any control over what a creditor can do. If you're going to go through a settlement process, it's messy. You can get sued.
And the salesperson doesn't even understand what the hell they're selling at times.
Yeah, they don't. And that's the problem. That's why people get surprised. Oh my, I got sued. It's like, well, yeah, you haven't paid the bill. And that can be part of the process. The way to avoid getting sued is have all the money to resolve and settle the debt right away. But a lot of times people aren't in that kind of position because the sales guy says, oh, don't worry, just save $380 a month and give it to us and all of your problems will be solved. Oh yeah, well, you can't drag something out for 4 years if the creditors all sue you in 2. So sometimes that doesn't work. So anyway, he's upset that it's not so much I think that he's gotten sued, but it's that they never, I'm going to read now, they never informed me of the litigation until after the judgment was entered. So that's the other thing these companies will do. They'll cut off communication between you and your creditor, and they'll change the
your address.
So all the letters now, instead of going to you, so you're in the loop and you understand what's going on, go to these companies. So you're completely blindsided. I hear stories all the time. People end up with the garnishment without even knowing they got sued. Right. So you'd never want to have a company change the address. You always want, even if the company is going to be helping you out, you always want to be in the loop. You want to be the one, you get the letter, you look at it, and then you can forward it to your attorney or the company if that's the way you want to do it. But that way you always know what's going on, right? So anyway,
well, you should have done attorney in air quotes for the people listening to this video podcast on audio. They didn't see that. But this is a good point for me to say, because we're doing this podcast, the Get Out of Debt Guy podcast, in video, and some people will hear it audio only. But if you want to see our two smiling faces, you can go to the Get Out of Debt Guy YouTube channel and leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and leave a question in the comments, and we'll answer it on an upcoming podcast. If you're listening to the audio podcast, thank you. Be sure to subscribe to that so you don't miss out on future ones. But Damon, is there anything else that you want to add before?
Yes. Shameless plug for our new project, the Penny Stupid project over on YouTube, where Steve and I are testing all the side hustles and making more money. So if you're in debt, that can help you.
In Damon's spare time in his first month, he was driving for Lyft and did what, $6,000?
$6,000 in the evenings driving for Lyft. There is money to be made.
Yep. So you can also visit us at pennystupid.com and learn about the side hustles that we're reviewing. But there's lots of information out there. We're here to help you. Damon, thank you so much for picking out and reading the reader questions this time. I think now you have proven yourself to be an excellent host.
Awesome.
So we're gonna have to do more of this.
Or you sit there and nod. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah, it's my turn. I mean, that's what I do.
All right, go edit
All
this
right.
puppy.
All right. See ya.
Peace.